Welcome to phase 3. This is where everybody drops off. And that's just what we've noticed. That's what the research in psychology shows us too. That somewhere between week 6 and week 12, everybody drops off. Not everybody, but if you can make it past week 12, you'll probably make it forever. You've probably developed a habit, you developed a lifestyle that you're going to keep for a long period of time, for years and years and years and decades. But almost everybody fails to make it past the 6 to 12 week mark. So this is an adherence video. Okay? I know that we did one up at the front, and I encourage you to go back through the courage, the commitment, and the adherence video from phase 1. But rethink this thing and rethink an audit on yourself. Because this is tough for me too. I totally understand where you're coming from. I can't tell you how many different programs I've done where I got to the 3rd phase and I didn't want to do it anymore. I was like, okay, I get what's going on here. Even though I didn't explore phase 3 and phase 4 and phase 6 and phase 10 and phase 12, I didn't experience them all because I had this mental block around I was bored. Okay? This mental block around, oh, I'm bored, I'm going to move on to something else. I get what's going on here. No, I didn't. I didn't understand what was going on there. I needed to understand what was going on there, but I didn't. Why? This is like what we talked about with the fear video, where it's going to look like your couch. Fear isn't going to look this obvious, like, hey, I'm scared. It's going to look like your couch. It's going to look like your bed. It's going to look like the Doritos at the store. It is not going to look like what you think it's going to look like. It's going to look like this. It's going to look like dropping off. Okay, everybody's got this huge, they're on this high, right? And then they drop off and then they level out and they stay back where they originally started. Do not stay back where you originally started. That's not where you started this thing. You started this thing, I didn't, there, for all those that want to graph. This is where you started. You shot up to this new spot. You quit, so you drop back down. You end up living the same life for the rest of the time that you do have while you're here, okay? If this does happen, this is us making sense of the reality that this is what we deserve. This is us justifying things. And I think that that is probably the worst problem that you can have. I think I think people reach for the wrong problems on a certain level. They, like, if I'm gonna reach for a problem, I would much rather reach for the, am I getting too lean? Are my muscles getting too big? Am I eating too healthy? Like, I want those kind of problems. I don't want the problems of the worst problem that I can possibly imagine. The absolute worst problem that I can possibly imagine is trying to come up with reasons for why I didn't go for what I wanted to do in the first place. That sounds like the hardest, that sounds like the worst problem I can possibly imagine. Can you imagine sitting around just and trying to justify why you didn't have the courage to do what you wanted to do when you wanted to do it? Or trying to justify why you ended up right back where you started? Why you didn't keep on going? I mean, wouldn't this be better? You won't do that. You'll probably do some version of this. Plateau, jump up, plateau, jump up. But wouldn't that be better than this? This is where that courage thing comes in. This is where gutting it out comes in. I think when you get to the 6 to 12 week mark where everybody falls off, there's a reason why all the diets and everything only last 6 to 12 weeks. Why you have to do this thing, well, we only do it for 6 to 12 weeks. Well, 6 to 12 weeks is the drop-off rate. Everybody quits. So if you do it past that, everybody's going to fail because they'll blow back up again because their body adjusted, and it's just what happens. Don't do this. This is where the grind comes in. This is where you got to toughen up. This is where you find a way or you make one. And it's very, very, very difficult. It takes a ton of discipline. I think it takes more courage and more discipline to do this one right here than it did to start this program. Okay? I cannot emphasize this enough. It is easy to back down to here and go, oh, okay, I get it. But do you get it to the level where it's going to stick with you for the rest of your life? If not, get going. Get going. Do not stop this thing. I'm not trying to be motivational here. I'm trying to be as forthcoming and as clear as possible. This is going to come down to you. It is ultimately your decision. If you have the guts and the courage to drive this thing out and to make this thing everything that you want it to be, then you have to pick you. But this is where like almost like a dichotomy of commitment comes in. Okay? Are you going to pick Are you going to be committed to the you that you want, to the life that you want to have, the you that you want to be, or are you going to be more committed to the you that you already were? That's the big question here, and I think that's the one that you have to ask yourself. That's the audit, okay? Am I more committed to the life that I want to live, or more committed to the life that was the default I was already going to have?